My name is Travis Gleason, and welcome to the 19 annual conference for MS Ireland. I'll be your compere today. A few bits of housekeeping, but we'll keep it to a few, otherwise the Maids Union is going to have a problem with me. We are going to ask you to turn your mobile devices onto silent. I won't ask you to turn them off, but to silent, please, in respect for our speakers and the rest of the audience. The reason I'm not asking you to turn them off is right here in front of me. So on all of your social media today, we would love for you to tag the hashtag MyInvisibleMS if you're putting anything on Insta, Face, Tweet. And we encourage you to share. In fact, our MS&Me bloggers, we've got a number of us here today, and we'll be live tweeting, etc., from the event and taking questions from the international audience. When we've done this before, we've had people from as far away as Turkey and Iran all the way to Hawaii keeping up with us. So it's kind of an exciting thing. So I suppose if you are wanted by Interpol, you might want to avoid the camera streams. The fire exits are in the back of this room, and here and there, and the assembly point is at the end of the car park. We've been told that there are no drills expected, so if the alarm happens, it's likely real, and we'll be assisted in how to evacuate. Toilets are right outside before you get to the double doors near the table that had all the information on it, etc. And then the accessible toilets are further on out around the corner from the registration desk past the registration and the restaurant, where lunch will be served, by the way. It is in the restaurant around the corner. Please do visit the number of stands that are outside from our sponsor partners. One in particular you want to take a look at is the MS Inside and Out. For those of you who would like to be able to share with other people what it's like to live inside of our heads and our skin, there are simulations of at home, the workplace, and public transport, and how we, with people living with multiple sclerosis, have to deal with that. We encourage you to go to our new website, which I believe that Ava will speak about a little bit, and sign up for our e-newsletter to keep up with what's going on. For those who are attending the AGM, that will happen directly after the event this afternoon. And also, we will be, at the end of the morning, splitting into two different workshops. You can see from your itinerary there, one of them is the importance of self-management with Dr. Jennifer Wilson. That will happen here in this room. The breakout for the importance that the voice of MS be heard in research, that will be held in the Drum and Ear suite, which is right next to where you registered this morning. There'll be a crowd of us going out, so no need to worry there about finding your way. As I said, this will be live streaming, so we are out, I believe, as now. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to the world. Now, yesterday, before I introduce Ava, yesterday we had a panel discussion with the healthcare professionals, because we do this, a version of this seminar on Fridays for healthcare professionals from around the country who come. And we had a panel of people living with multiple sclerosis, professionals living with multiple sclerosis, telling the healthcare professionals a little bit about what we expect from them, and a little bit about the baggage that we carry with us when we come to the appointment, so that they understand that we are coming from them. They're seeing a snapshot, but there's a whole life, a whole experience that came into the door of the surgery with us, or the therapy room, or whatever. And it was very effective. It was, I think it was very important for them to hear. And in the spirit of that truthfulness and sharing, I figured, just to set the stage, I'm going to share something with you this morning. I told Ava about it this morning, and we laughed and cried together. And I called it my train spotting moment this morning, for any of you who remember that film. So I got out of the shower this morning and reached into my shaving kit for my Provigil, my anti-fatigue med that gets me through the day when I really need it. I refer to it as my loan shark drug, because that bastard really wants interest at the end. And as I took the package out of my shaving kit, a little tablet fell onto the floor, and I didn't think anything about it, but then I reached in, and the first blister pack was empty. So I reached in, I got the second one, and it was empty. And for a moment I thought, well, what am I going to do? And then I found myself on my hands and knees in the bathroom of a Radisson Blu in Limerick, padding around looking for that half of a tablet that had jumped out and was on the floor. And I found it. And it was paracetamol. So I'll be drinking a lot of coffee today so that the caffeine and the frequent trips to the toilet keep me awake. But I share that in the spirit of kind of telling you some of the embarrassing that we all know happens with multiple sclerosis. And hoping that you will then feel comfortable to share your experiences as appropriate and as you feel comfortable with. But we're all people who live with MS in this room. Whether you live with the diagnosis yourself, or you live with someone, or you work with someone, or you work for us because you work with MS Ireland. We all live with multiple sclerosis, and we get on with doing the best that we can. So today, if I stumble and stammer and trip and fall, that's just what happens, and it happens to all of us. So with that, and do know that it is a comical thing that I'm trying to share there. With that, I'm going to ask Ava Battles, who I think is probably somewhere in that halo there that I can't see, to come up and welcome you all. So please give a warm round of applause for Ava, who is our CEO of MS Ireland.
Díomh a cóir go léir, agus tá fáilte róibh go County Limerick. Good morning, everybody. Good morning to everybody here in the room with us, and good morning to everybody who is listening and watching live streaming. We're delighted to have so many people here with us this morning. I'm just going to do a few slides on MS Ireland and some of the highlights from the past year, so as an introduction, and then I'll hand you over to our presenters for today. Some people here have never been to any of our conferences before. Many of you have, and I know some of you have been to a number of them. But just so that we're all, I suppose, understanding where we're coming from, MS Ireland's mission is to enable and empower people affected by MS to live the life of their choice to their fullest potential. Our vision is an Irish society where all people affected by MS live positive and active lives in the community. And we try to do this by living our values, which are supportive, empowering, informative and transparent. Oh, I'm going backwards. So some of the highlights that we're just going to show you from the last year. For any of you who don't know, we have a 12-bed respite facility that's based in Dublin. It is Ireland's only respite and therapy centre for people with MS. I know there are some people here, I see some very familiar faces who attend the MS Care Centre. But last year, 422 people attended the care centre. You can see a breakdown of the figures. But I suppose it's just to make sure that everybody here is aware that we have a respite facility, whether that's for yourself or a family member, and you can refer yourself to the facility, or you can actually link with any one of our community workers who operate throughout the 26 counties. And it might be something that you would like to consider. You can go on the website as well if you'd like, and actually just watch a little video on what it is like to stay in the MS Care Centre. We also have an information line, so that operates Monday to Friday from 10 to 2. And the majority of, I suppose, the calls that used to come to the information line were all through the telephone, but I suppose the world has changed now quite a bit, and we have a lot of, Facebook queries. We do a lot of stuff from Twitter, email, so our information line worker deals with all of those queries. Our casework service, so today actually on the stand, when you came in on the left-hand side, we have quite a lot of literature that's available. Please feel free to take literature, whether it's for yourself or for family members or for your work. All the literature is available on the tables. But also our caseworkers. So MS Ireland has a network of caseworkers who work in our regional offices, and they provide one-to-one support for people with MS or their families. Today, Mary McCusker, the caseworker who operates out of our Limerick office, and John MacDonald, who operates between Limerick and the Galway office, are available to chat to anybody. If at any point during the day you feel that you want to ask something specifically and you maybe just don't want to put up your hand at one of the talks, or you just want to have a coffee in the foyer with somebody, Mary and John are available throughout the whole day if you'd like to have a conversation with somebody. But this just gives you some figures that there's around nearly 2,000 one-to-one engagements with people with MS through our regional offices. And you can see from the issues presenting, it ranges from everything from exercise queries to emotional support, information on financial assistance and symptom management. Some of you will know that we had, in partnership with a pharmaceutical, Roche Pharmaceuticals, we had an MS Understood coffee shop in Dublin. And as I mentioned yesterday, the only negative feedback about the coffee shop was it was a one-day coffee shop, an experiential experience for people going to the coffee shop. And what happened was the only negative feedback was around the fact that it was in Dublin and why wasn't it in Cork and why didn't it come to Limerick. So we turned the coffee shop into a bus, and we had a roadshow, and I suppose this speaks for itself, so I'm just going to play the video from the roadshow.
I brought my mother and my sister in, and the minute my mother went in, she said, "There's something wrong with the floor." And I looked at her going, "Yeah, that's MS." And she was like, "Oh my God, this is what you deal with."
I kind of stood on the bus, and kind of straight away it hits you, your balance is kind of thrown off, and then you're looking at the menu, it's starting to fade away, and it's good to put things into perspective.
I think it's a great idea, and I think the more places it goes to, the better, that people will say in everyday life get to see what we experience.
You can't see that we're walking on unsteady floors all the time, because how would you? Go in there and you'll feel it, and it's just so much awareness.
It's great for people with MS to bring friends or family on board, and then they get to experience what they're going through. So I think it's fantastic.
I myself have MS diagnosed 10 years ago, so for someone like Declan, I'd say to him, "Oh, the ground feels uneven," or "I can't see the vision properly," and he wouldn't understand it, but taking him here today.
Things like the heavy chair, the sugars wrapped up, things that people actually don't realise are real day-to-day issues.
The very minute you step on the bus, you're blissfully aware of the restrictions that are put on people every single day.
And the experience on the bus, it is absolutely fantastic, because knowing myself what's happening with people with MS, it is really and truly shows what's happening. And judging from the people with MS inside, they all think it is great. But this is what is needed, not just for MS Understood, but this is what's needed every year to get people to understand.
So at the same time as we were running the MS Understood roadshow, we were actually campaigning for access to medicines for people with MS. So we had a campaign running alongside that. So we were trying to not only create awareness, but also campaign for one of the important advocacy issues for people with MS around access. We also have, I mentioned the care centre earlier on, we currently have a care centre business case, and I'll actually let Mark from the care centre tell you a little bit more about that.
It is the only place that caters for my every need. It's like home from home for me. They have the same staff in all my years in coming, which makes it feel like home from home.
Not having to ask family members in that week for support. It gives the resident a lovely sense of freedom and comfort within. And I know it gives the carers a huge break, and they can go on holidays or just maybe have time out and have a rest.
To open it 350 days a year, as apart from the wonderful respite it offers, it also gives a much welcome break to our spouses. We have a superb case study, which is extremely user-friendly, and it would be of great help if people used the case study to contact their local TD, to put pressure on the HSA to approve this funding, as in the grander scheme of things, 600k is a very small price for what is offered in return.
So really any assistance that you can give us, especially as we come up to an election time, it's always very handy that if you have in your front porch a copy of the MS Care Centre business case, it's something that you could, if on our behalf, pass on to your local TD, because I think it's really important that the service is available to people from all around the country. I'm going to fly very quickly through some of the developments we've had over the last while. So we've just redeveloped the MS Ireland website, and you'll see later on how important the website is as a tool for people with MS to access information. So it's a really important place for you to go and access any up-to-date information, because obviously just from a communication perspective, we put anything that happens on a daily or a weekly basis goes up on our website. I just wanted to say a huge thank you to everybody who participated in our strategic plan survey. So we are coming to the end of MS Ireland's strategic plan at the end of 2019, and we're developing a new strategic plan for 2020 into 2024. And obviously to do that, we needed to consult yourselves, people with MS, family members and carers, and we went out and we did a survey, and 1,000 people participated in that survey. And I know some of you are here in the room today who took the time to complete the questionnaire. So it's a huge thank you to you, because obviously we need to know what it is that people with MS want, so we can understand what it is that MS Ireland needs to do to fulfil and meet our vision and our mission. So we asked people about the services. So this just gives you an idea. So 1,000 people participated in the survey. This is deciding to go very quick. 80% of those were people living with MS. And then, as you can see, we had family members, healthcare professionals and volunteers. 68% had relapsing remitting MS and 12% secondary progressive MS. So again, we had a range of age, gender, people with different progression of their MS and whichever. So really good sample from the point of view of getting our feedback. You can also see here what people were saying. So I just wanted to give you an overview of the results from the survey. We have a very comprehensive report if anybody would like it. I'm just going to do 2 or 3 slides here this morning. But really what it's saying is the website was selected as the most important tool to communicate with people, and how important it was to put information on the website. And also our information line was seen as a very important tool. So again, something that it's very important for us to know about how we communicate with you, what type of communication you want and how you want us to do that. So this just gives you an overview of the 3 categories where we asked people around what is the service that you want from us. So again, communication-wise, we're talking about the website, social media, our MS News and our e-newses. Services as well, the importance of the community workers was very clear. Our physio and exercise related activity, and I must thank the branches and everybody who fundraises for MS Ireland, because we don't receive any funding from the state to provide any of our physio or exercise related activities. All of that is done through our branch network of volunteers nationwide, where they raise money locally and provide services to people with MS locally. So your physiotherapy, exercise programs, your aquathons, all of those kind of things that happen throughout the country are all done through fundraised income. So a huge thank you to our branches for that. And you can see how important the branch services are to people who live in the community. And the programs, again, really important, are Getting the Balance Right, symptom management programs, and our newly diagnosed programs. So all of those programs that our community workers put on in collaboration with people locally. Also, we took the qualitative responses into account as well. So we were very clear around ensuring that we were listening to what people are saying. So the importance of family support, social activities, financial aid. So that's something we need to look at when we're planning our services into the future. And also, what are the important things that people with MS want us to advocate on? So access to medicines, employment, services. So I know we're doing a big campaign here at the moment in Limerick, actually, about access to, because there's no MS nurse in this region. So we're doing a lot around access, trying to get access to an MS nurse in this region. And that's one of many campaigns that we're running. So finally, then, I just want to finish out just to mention to you about the MS Readathon. So the Readathon is one of our flagship fundraising campaigns, and it's happening now from the 11th of October till the 11th of November. And it's really just encouraging anyone you know to get involved in the Readathon. It's a wonderful initiative where young people get lost in reading books, and they raise money for a very good cause to provide services to people with MS. Last year we had nearly 10,000 young people participate in this, so it's a really, really good, positive initiative. So it's just something to encourage people to get involved in. And also, I will say, we have Christmas cards. I know people don't want to start talking about Christmas cards probably in September. We have Christmas cards and calendars outside for a sale as well, because again, all of the funds raised from that go to providing our services. So that is my whistle-stop tour about our service. But the most important thing is there are staff available to anybody today if you would like to have a conversation with anyone at any point. And I'd now just like to hand you back to our absolutely wonderful MC, Travis, to take you through the rest of the day. Thank you very much.